Hi, how are you? Today we're going to continue with our notes from our introduction of imperialism. We're now going to get to a specific place. All right, so throughout this introduction, crew, it has just been me discussing, this has happened all over the world, okay? These forms of imperialism, the types of rule, and these motivations, okay? Now we're going to start getting to a specific place. We're going to start with Africa, go to Asia, then Latin America. So here we go. So why did it start in Africa? First of all, centralized location, right? Look, think of the map. All right, here's Europe to the north, geographic proximity. Okay. Also, the other thing is Africa for a long time. I don't want to say it had been ignored, but it had been hard to discover, to explore until a lot of recent inventions that we're going to get to. All right. Before I get into the notes, just so I can stay on the map, up here is the Sahara Desert. Okay. So many Europeans viewed this area as a wasteland. You know, there's not a lot of natural resources, not a lot of population for workers or consumers. So oftentimes, sort of in the early stages, some ignorance led to the belief that, you know, how big is the Sahara Desert? They didn't have satellite imagery telling them how large it was. You can see within the vast interior, this dark green. This is, you know, the Serengeti. This is one of the birthplaces of civilization. This is some of the best farmland on Earth, home to all kinds of natural resources, precious metals, natural crops, all kinds of wonderful things are in this area. The only problem is along the coastline, rivers going in, very difficult to get in until the invention of the steamboat. And then also jungle, just ignorance made it very difficult to find out the true value of Africa for many years. Okay, so let's get to some notes here. Here we go. So why was it difficult to explore? First of all, for a long time, diseases like malaria, until vaccines were created and treatments were created for Europeans. Many times journeying into the deeper parts of Africa, into the interior, more exposure to disease. Thick, dangerous jungles and rivers with strong currents. And what I mean by this is just like technology hadn't gotten to a point in Western society to allow them to navigate to their liking, right, quickly as they wanted to. Also, not a lot of maps. Again, this is sort of an ignorance thing. Difficulty to explore in the interior. Number two, many felt that the land was covered in desert and uninhabitable lands. A lot of this, again, we talked about this with social Darwinism, is the belief that, you know, if Africa was so great, Europeans would have been living there. They would have had access to it. So arrogance and racism plays a big part in this sort of general ignoring of Africa for a very long time as an entire continent. Okay. Most Europeans didn't know about all the great farmland in the interior. Most explorations had been quitting before they ever got to the interior. Okay. So what changes? Well, the Industrial Revolution. All right, up top, right? Those desires for resources, markets, consumers, all right? All that is happening. But then also the technology piece. Now Europeans have the steam engine. They have more weapons. They have the vaccines to allow them to get in. All right. A big invention around this time in society, guys, too, in the Industrial Revolution, is the newspaper. The newspaper comes out of this free time aspect that I talked about, the Industrial Revolution. How the Industrial Revolution, the greatest gift it gives its societies as it gets to them, it gives them more free time. You know, it's all relative. Some, like if you're in the beginning of your Industrial Revolution, not a ton, but you're getting more. Free time meaning, you know, you're not hunting for food. You're not, you know, making your shirts and clothes. You know, you have this free time to do other things. So newspapers are a big deal, right? They're a big medium when they're first created. Now I get it. They're not as much for you guys. But the big part of newspapers in the early going were photos, guys. This period of time we're looking at in the 1800s is the invention of photography. So imagine seeing pictures for the first time. You know, that's pretty amazing, of all over the world. And as you can imagine, this sort of starts this second age of exploration. This is when Westerners started trying to get to like the North and South Poles. This is when it's sort of the second age of exploration. There's sort of a revisiting of some of those early travels of Magellan and those crew, okay? And then obviously a place like Africa that hadn't been, the Westerners hadn't rolled through yet, it becomes this new opportunity. The story of the sort of increase in population starts with this guy, Livingston. Livingston was a doctor, all right, who had some money, he had some wealth, so he retired. And like I said, he had free time. So his sort of life goal was to find the source of the Nile River, the largest river on Earth. Okay, so Livingston literally sets off on a journey to find the source. He's walking it, and you know he becomes into this urban legend because for 3 years no one hears of him. All right, so then an American newspaper decided to offer a reward for finding him, and the guy they recruit to do it is Stanley. All right. Stanley found Livingston. I put that in quotations because Livingston wasn't lost, guys. Livingston enjoyed living there. He had settled into the Congo region, okay, which you're going to do your homework on tonight. He's going to settle into the Congo region, and he's going to be welcomed. I mean, just think, he's a doctor with Western medicine knowledge. Like, he's probably helping people out. He's probably becoming fairly popular in the area, and he's loving it, okay? He's seeing all these great beauties, the Victoria Falls, the Congo River, Kilimanjaro, the Serengeti, all this awesome stuff, right? So here's the big thing. Stanley finds Livingston. The big deal is, as Stanley's looking for Livingston, he's seeing some amazing things. I'm not talking like rivers flowing with diamonds. That's not what I'm talking about. But he is seeing the locals having precious metals. He's wondering where they're obviously getting it from somewhere nearby. He is seeing the rubber tree. Like, you get sap from it to create rubber, which is huge for the Industrial Revolution. He sees the opportunity to make some money. And he also brought cameras with him. So he takes photos of everything. Everything gets back to the world, so to speak, the West. These images are in newspapers in Europe and America, and this builds up this excitement. And the first guy to jump on it is King Leopold of Belgium. Just to give you a size sort of idea, the Congo region is 80 times larger than Belgium. We're going to do an assignment on the Congo tonight, and then next 2 classes from now, we're going to watch a movie on it. Okay? 2 classes from now. All right? So King Leopold, and he wanted Belgium for himself. This is a little different than you might expect. He wasn't going to give the Congo to, like, the country. It was for him. All right? It's good to be the king. So Leopold paid Stanley, and Stanley, who had developed a relationship with the local tribes, local chiefs, he sells them, he corrupts the process, and he gets the lands that he needs. All right? The land belongs to Leopold, not to Belgium, or to the Congolese, the people of the Congo. Right? He's getting rich. He is a mean, awful king. We'll get into it more with the video we watch in 2 days, but this is one of the modern world's first genocides. So genocide is the attempt to extinguish an entire race of people, entire group of people. This is a genocide. Historians believe the population was around 20 million in the Congo area, and the 10 million have died. All right, so at least half of the people died. A lot of mutilations occurred. If you didn't work hard enough, you didn't collect enough rubber was the main resource, but also like ivory. But if you didn't collect enough stuff, you'd have your hand chopped off. Then you'd have your foot chopped off. It didn't matter your age. If you were a young person who showed progress, like you were a smart young person, you were probably taken from your local groups, from your cities, from your town, from your village, what have you, and you were brought to a European-centered location where they would teach you the ways of Europe, European law, European rules, and you'd go back and become like this sort of government employee in your local group. All right, so they're taking the talent out. The natural resource they're at, I'm digressing here. The natural resource they're after is rubber. Okay, and it's just awful. All right, it's what you're going to get into the homework assignment tonight. You're going to look at a primary source. All right, and it's just brutal. All right, if Africans did not collect enough rubber or things like ivory and other things, just not rubber. Rubber's the big one. They would have their hands cut off. You know, that's brutal. I used to show images. I'm not. The video will have some. You can fast forward it. And you guys at home, I'll skip through it, but you guys in school, I'll skip through it, but you don't need to see it. Me telling you is enough. All right, ready? This is sort of our second transition. This is in class. We take a break. So feel free to pause the video right now for a moment, gather your thoughts, and then come back to it because we're sort of in our last stretch here. Okay, hopefully you paused and took a break. I'm being serious. All right? So ready, guys? Here we are. Now the stage is set. Africa is becoming a desired place. The Congo, guys, is right here where this arrow is, right in the heart of all of it. All right? So European countries start to want to get the rest of it. All right? Why? Well, they want stuff, but there's also the idea of nationalism. You don't want your country to be left behind. You know, France sees that their neighboring country, Belgium's getting something. Germany's seeing that Belgium's getting something. These people are getting jealous. It's natural, right? So I'll give them some credit, the Europeans. They decide to talk about it instead of fight. Like, that's pretty good. Look at our years here, guys, 1880s, okay? They have what's called the Berlin Conference, which is a city in Germany. It's a conference called by Europeans to settle arguments over the Congo River area and other contested areas of Africa. Here's their biggest mistake. They did not invite any African leaders. The African leaders could have told them, oh, wait, let me go to the map. Look at this map. See these lines that are being drawn? You know, you're putting them through groups that don't enjoy that. You're putting collective groups together. Here's the Congo, guys. See these right here? I'm following it with the cross. This is the Congo area. Holy smokes. Now look at all the different ethnic groups. Did they all get along? Were they all best of buds? Not always true. So this led to some conflict. All right. So because African leaders weren't invited to the Berlin Conference, They don't know how to advocate and speak up for themselves. They come up with a bunch of rules, guys, because the bottom line is if you're taking someplace over and arguing with someone else, like that's going to cost you money and lives. So the Europeans didn't want conflict. It was sort of this age of enlightenment idea where everyone can prosper, everyone can come in, everyone can do their thing. Okay, they come up with two big rules that I think you guys will get as kids. All right, first one is Article 34, and the next one is Article 35. Article 34, I like to call it, and you can write this in or type it in. This is the I called it rule. So called it, all right? It's pretty straightforward. You're going to tell other people, I'm not your teacher. You're going to tell other people what you took. It eliminates confusion. Now, here comes the problem. What if you're that immature, painful country that's just calling everything? Think of your little brother. I called it, that's mine, I called it, right? So they come with Article 35, which is the rule of effective occupation. Basically, what it's saying is prove it, all right? So that's your one for this one. Prove it, all right? Someone takes your seat at lunch. Well, I was sitting there. No, you weren't. Yes, I was. Prove it, right? So how would you prove you had that seat at lunch? Remember when you guys used to have things like lunch in school? Your bag was there. My friend was saving it, right? But for a country, though, you could do this several ways. Number one, you could have a government set up with the locals, all right? No, sorry, France. You see, we're Britain, and we've had a mayor in this town for a while, or we've been exchanging officials. We have some Europeans here. Sorry, too bad. Next one, trade established. Nope, sorry, Germany. See, we've already had trade established with these people. We've been exchanging goods for a long time. It's ours, all right? You can also have improved infrastructure. What that means is like, hey, no, sorry, we built a hospital here. No, we improved their harbor. We improved the local airport. We built a train station. All right, so that infrastructure proves it to the rest of the world that area is yours. So the big thing about the Berlin Conference is it shows some enlightenment from Europeans that they're not just going to fight each other over everything anymore. That comes from the Industrial Revolution. People are getting rich. When you're making a lot of money, guys, you don't want to fight, okay, because things are going good. And then just a couple rules that came from it. All right, you have a homework assignment tonight. Check out the explainer video for that one because it's not easy, a primary source. All right, so check that out and be well. We'll see you.